I told you this classification of economies is based on level of economic development. Always remember, always pay attention to the question asked. Okay, on the basis of what were the classification, capitalist economy and mixed economy, what was it based on? What was that based on?
Merits and demerits.
No, you are not understanding the question. The classification wherein we study capitalist economy, mixed economy, socialist economy, that classification is based on what?
Developing economies.
No. That classification is based on what? How will you answer the question if I ask you, state the classification of economy if it is based on what? For which you will write the answer capitalist, socialist, mixed economy. That classification is based on what? Ownership of resources. Yesterday also I told you. It is the ownership of resources which dictates whether it is capitalist economy or a mixed economy or a socialist economy.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, write it down. Otherwise, you are going to write wrong answers. Always remember what the classification is based on. Okay?
Ma'am?
Yes, or you can say it is based on economic activities. Yes, Ved.
Ma'am, this is the 4th chapter.
This is the 3rd chapter we are doing, no? This is the 3rd chapter we are doing, types of economies.
Third chapter.
Okay. Now this classification that we are doing, that is developed, underdeveloped and developing economies. This classification is based on the economic development of a region. Understood? So there is a difference between both. That classification was based on economic activities or ownership of resources. This classification is based on development of a region, the economic development of a region. So we finished with developed economy. Now we'll start with underdeveloped economy. Okay. Now it's the exact opposite of developed economy, right? In an underdeveloped economy, it has a per capita low income, right? They had high income. Underdeveloped have low income. Per capita income is what? What is per capita income? Ronak, what was per capita income?
Ma'am, the average income in an area.
Yes, it is the average income of a person, right? That means the total national income divided by the total population gives you an average income of a person. Okay, so per capita income is very low. Because the per capita income is low, the standard of living is also very low. Okay, and in such underdeveloped economies, it is agriculture which is the main occupation of the people. So around 50 to 60% of the people will be engaged in agricultural activities. Okay, in developed economy, it is the opposite. It is the secondary and tertiary sector which dominates the economies, developed economies. Okay, agriculture has only 3 or 4% of it, but here it is the main occupation for the people. Traditional methods of production are used, right? That means old methods are used, not technological advancement is not applied. And because these traditional methods are used, the efficient production does not happen. Okay, natural and human resources both are unexploited. Okay, that means there is abundance of natural resources but they are not fully put to use. Okay, and the human resource also, the labor which is used, it is not fully exploited. That means they are not working efficiently. Okay, and examples are Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Brazil. These are some of the countries, the African countries. These are some of the countries which can be known as underdeveloped countries. Or you must have heard the term third world countries. Have you heard the term third world countries?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, these third world countries are the underdeveloped countries. Okay, so now let's see what are the features. This was the meaning, right? Now there are different various definitions given by different authorities for a underdeveloped country, right? According to the UN report, we use the term underdeveloped countries to mean countries in which per capita real income is low, compared to that of USA, Australia, and the Western Europe. So the per capita, because those countries are considered as developed countries, compared to those countries which have a very low per capita income are considered as underdeveloped countries according to UN report. Okay, then an economist, MP Todaro, he gave the definition: underdeveloped economy is that economy in which there are low levels of living, absolute poverty, low per capita income, low consumption levels, poor health services, high death rates, high birth rates, and dependence on foreign economies. Because these economies are largely dependent on agriculture, their dependence on foreign economy for other goods is too much. Okay, so according to MP Todaro, this is the definition of underdeveloped economy. So basically it covers all the characteristics or features of underdeveloped economy. Okay, then according to Planning Commission of India, yes Ria, yes
Ma'am,
Ria,
amongst these all three definitions, which one do we write if
when
asked?
you write a definition, unless it is mentioned, you can pick up any definition: low per capita income, low development, low human index, anything you can pick up. Okay, unless it is mentioned clearly that this is the definition according to UN. Yes,
Now, what is MP Todaro?
MP Todaro is an economist, is the name of an economist according to him. Okay, then Planning Commission of India gave another definition: an underdeveloped economy is characterized by coexistence in greater or lesser degree of unutilized or underutilized manpower on the one hand, and of unexploited natural resources on the other hand. So Indian Planning Commission, see, all of them have one basic thing in them, that these economies have unexploited natural resources, and the human resources that they employ are also not efficient. Yes, Shivam. Yes, Shivam.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, a question can also come like differentiate between the three definitions of underdevelopment.
No, 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 no. Not the definitions. We are not learning about the differentiate between the definitions come only in the first chapter when we learn the definition of economics. They can ask according to UN what is an underdeveloped economy, like this they can ask. Okay, and it is your wish. If they just define underdeveloped economy as a question, you can use any definition. Okay, or you can use the definition which I gave in the first slide, that is the meaning of underdeveloped economy, this. Okay, involving all these. So it is your wish what you give, unless it is specified what you have to give. Okay, so these
So
are,
we have to learn just
yes,
one.
you have to learn. Yes, you have to learn. Okay,
Ma'am, all the three or just one?
all the three you should learn. You should know which, because all three of them have a common characteristics. They are talking about only the first one, UN report, has per capita income as a comparison. Otherwise both the other are talking about underutilization of resources, both manpower and natural resources. Okay, yes, but I have not seen
Yes.
questions like this. But you should learn definitions as it is. Okay, right. The next thing is the characteristics or the main features of an underdeveloped economy. The first and the most important feature is low per capita income. That is, the average income of a person is very low in underdeveloped countries, right? So a large portion of the people living in those regions live below the poverty line. Now, what is a poverty line? Poverty line are depending on each region. That is a concept given that this is the minimum amount of money required for a person to satisfy his basic needs. Basic needs mean food, clothing, shelter. Okay, so these are levels that are given by all countries depending on their own region, their prices and all. Ki this much money is required for a day yeah, for a month a person should have this much money so that his basic necessities can be met with. Okay, so above that, that line is known as the poverty line. So most of the people in these regions, the underdeveloped regions, they live below the poverty line. Their national income is also very low. Okay, they have a very low level of national income. This rate, because they have a very low level of income, obviously their saving and investment is also very low, right? They are all living below the poverty line. That means they are spending all their money on their basic necessities only. So savings are very rare. Then they use backward technology, and because they are using backward technology, efficient use of resources is not happening. Okay, and underdevelopment of resources, it is the same. Because of low levels of technology, they are not able to efficiently manage these resources. Although there is abundance of resources, but they are not able to efficiently use it. Okay, these points are clear. The reasons for low levels of income, these points are clear to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'll go to the next slide now.
Ma'am, 2 minutes.
Okay, write down. Okay, one more thing I have to tell you. Next month, that is, this is April, no, May. May you will have your internal assessments. Okay, for that you will get the first and the second chapter as your course. So your first chapter is Introduction to Economics, and your second chapter is Basic Concepts of Economics. Okay,
Ma'am, the internal assessments are 10 marks or the 20 marks?
20 marks.
One.
Okay, it will be 20 marks paper. So details I'll tell you afterwards. After during May I'll tell. Yes, what, Riya?
Ma'am, it will be a written test.
How are you going to conduct it?
Yes, it will be a mix of a written test and it will be mostly written only. We'll tell you the details. Okay,
Ma'am, would we
Rita?
have classes in May?
Yes, we will have classes in May.
Okay.
Because you are anyways enjoying vacations. Okay, we'll let you know the details when your exams are going to be. We'll be giving you a proper timetable and how we are going to conduct those exams. Okay, but I have told you the chapters that are coming, and I have given you both the chapters. Yes, first and second. Okay, so maybe after we finish with this, and in May we'll have a revision of those two chapters. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in first chapter, you'll ask to differentiate between like one scientist,
Yes. Not
economics
scientist,
theory.
economist. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that chapter is based on those 4 definitions only, right? They are the major part of those. So you should know the differentiation between those, right? All 4 economists. Right. So we were doing. So second is because it is they have a very low per capita income. Their level of living or their standard of living is also very low. Okay, they are basically working towards their basic requirements only to meet their basic necessities, right? So standard of living low standards of living means their per capita per day calorie intake is very low, right? We see that a lot of malnutrition is there, right? How do we calculate this? By seeing that per capita per day calorie intake, how much is it? So it is very low in these countries. I've given you examples. In India it is 2400 per day, Kenya it is 2100, Bangladesh it is only 2000. Okay, so their per day per capita calorie intake is very low. Yes, Ved, why have you raised your hand?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, ma'am, how does calorie make it into economics? Like, how
How
does
does
economy
calorie-
depend
See,
on calorie?
economics has evolved over the years, and there is a term known as Human Development Index. You heard that term, Human Development Index, right? So
Yes,
only per capita or only national income. This we are going to do subsequently in this chapter only. Only per capita income or only the national income does not tell you how much the economy has developed. It is the people of the economy which tell you the development about that economy, right? So everything is considered in that, not only their income, how much they are eating, what kind they are eating, what kind of consumer goods they are using. All this together make up their education level. All this come together to form that Human Development Index. Okay, and according to that is it is calculated what is the standard of that place, whether it is a developed economy, developing, or a underdeveloped economy. Okay, so that is how we go for per capita per day calorie intake. Because if your income levels are high, you will be able to spend money to better food opportunities. Okay, but here the income level is low, so that standard of living is also low. So there,
Ma'am, but
hmm,
ma'am, but sometimes people in some countries eat low because of some traditional methods. Maybe.
why would somebody eat low?
Ma'am, eat less, ma'am.
Why? What tradition tells you to eat less?
I
No
know.
tradition tells you to eat less, right? If it is possible for you, you will consume proper food only. If it is possible for me to give milk to my children every day, if my income permits it, I know milk is good for them, I will provide milk to them every day. Yes, but if my income levels goes down, then I will not be able to afford milk, and milk is a basic necessity. Yes or no? The same way is fruit and vegetables. What kind of fruits and vegetables? I'm not talking about exotic fruits and vegetables, but normal seasonal fruits and vegetables I should be able to afford. That is, then only I'll be considered as an average middle class person. Yes, if I can't even afford that, yes.
Ma'am, but in some parts of India, there's a trend of fasting in amongst the people.
That fasting
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that fasting is not every day. Do they fast every day? That is a
It's not a
religious
trend.
thing. That is a
Yeah.
religious thing, right? We do not consider religious thing in that. And always when we are talking about economy as a whole, we never go to the extremes of it. We consider ordinary people. Remember the definition: economic activities of ordinary people, right? Fasting and all are religious things, which are like once in a week or for some specific religious thing. Nobody is
Yeah, it
fasting
is
every
based
day.
on the person's choice.
Yes, and it is based on a person's taste and preference. Okay. Yes. Anything else? So this is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in USA, see the difference between India, Kenya, and Bangladesh, and US and France. I told you these are developed economies. Their per calorie intake is 3,642. France is 3,593. UK is 3,270. So we are nearly half of them, right? The calorie intake of us is nearly somewhere near half of them. So it is low for us. Human development index, I told you there is a term called human development index. Okay, in human development index we consider three things. One is life expectancy of the people. Life expectancy means on an average how much the person is going to live, okay, in a particular country. So life expectancy, the education levels mean basic minimum education should be there, right? Like we consider basic minimum education 8th standard or 10th standard should be there. Okay, so basic education is there. And the third thing is per capita income. So per capita income, write it down: per capita income, education, and life expectancy. These three things taken together becomes human development index. Okay, and when we are talking about economy or development, we consider human development index. So these three things are considered. So human development index is very low in underdeveloped countries and it is very high in developed countries. Okay, see, underdeveloped country it is somewhere near 0.3 to 0.4%, and in developed country it is somewhere near 0.8 to 0.9. Okay, so there is a large difference between the human development index, and UN and all the international agencies, they consider human development index as the basis to measure the economic development of that place. Okay, then next is ill health and malnutrition. Because they have low levels of income, low per capita calorie intake, their health is not good and they are always malnutrition. Okay, the children do not get proper calories. Okay, this is clear, right? The next
Ma'am?
point is, yes.
Ma'am, I got disconnected, so can you just repeat what happened?
Okay, I don't know where you got disconnected. I was talking about human development index. I have given you a term here. See, human development index. So this human development index, write it down. Consider three things, right? It has three things. One is life expectancy, second is education, and third is per capita income. Okay, life expectancy is an average lifespan of a person, whether he lives for 60 years, he lives of a region. Now in a region, like we have a life expectancy of somewhere nearly 68 years. That does not mean that all the people live till 68 years. It's an average. On an average, people in India live till the age of 68. Now it has increased to 72. In 2015 it was 68. Okay, so life expectancy is 68 years, means on an average a person who lives in India lives till the age of 68 years. Okay, so education, minimum education here, at least we have till 8th standard, government provides free education. Okay, so minimum a person should be literate till 8th standard. Okay, and third thing, what was the third thing? Per capita income, right? So there is a poverty line which is somewhere near 1600 rupees per month. So that much minimum amount of money should be there. So these three are considered for the Human Development Index. Okay, so that is very low. Okay, Ria.
Okay, ma'am.
Now next point is high growth rate of population. What is growth rate? What is growth rate?
Ma'am, the rate the population grows.
Yes, every year per annum.
Every
Okay,
year.
the growth rate is the rate at which the population is growing in a particular region every year, right? So these underdeveloped countries, they have a very high growth rate. Okay, why they have a very high growth rate? First reason is they do not have medical facilities, right? If they, now that medical facilities are increasing, like in India also we have a lot of medical facilities given to us, right? So our death rate has decreased, but our birth rate is still very high. Okay, are you understanding? If it is normal that the birth rate is equated with the death rate, like suppose we have 3 birth every day, deaths also is nearly about 3 only every day. It is equated, there is no difference, growth rate will be the same. But suppose we have a birth rate of 10 children per day and death rate is only 1, you are getting 9 children extra every day. Yes or no? Right? So because of our medical facilities, our death rate has decreased, but we still have a high birth rate, right? And why do we still have a high birth rate? Because first reason is poverty is there, second is ignorance, third is religious orthodoxy, right? Poverty is people are poor, they are uneducated, they do not understand the meaning of birth control. Okay, ignorance, they don't know that these are the ramifications, that if you have more children you have to feed more children, so you require more money to give them a better standard of living. What people think, in especially in the rural areas, that if we have more children we'll have more hands to work in the fields, but it is opposite. If you have more children you have to feed them more, and like if you have only 2 children at home, you can look after those 2 children better than having 8 children at home. Okay, so this is ignorance. And third thing is religious orthodoxy. What is religious orthodoxy? Can anyone explain? In case of India,
Ma'am, religious orthodoxy is the ma'am, the illiteracy.
it is illiteracy is
And
uneducation.
and ma'am, that there's like religious beliefs that you should have more children.
No,
So
the
basically religious beliefs, ma'am.
Yes, religious orthodoxy is basically religious belief. Like in Hindus, we believe that you should always have a son, right? Who will do the karmas for us, those last rituals, last rites for us. It has to be a son. So it is a religious orthodoxy on our part. Ki a son is necessary, and to have that son, people keep on having children, right? One after the other, girls are happening because they want ki one son should be there. Hamara khandan ka naam kaun badhayega and all that. Okay. So this
Ma'am?
son sanda, yes.
Ma'am, but right now the death rate has increased like very much.
No, death rate is low because we have good medical facilities, but our growth rate is high, right? Birth rate is very high. We still
Ma'am,
have,
but I
I'll
am
give you a
talking
table.
about the present situation, ma'am.
Present situation also death. Yeah, for coronavirus, still we are under control only. We
No,
don't
but
have.
there's more people recovered than.
Yes,
that.
there are more people recovered than there are deaths. Okay, so it is still, this death rate is not to be considered because it is a short term. When we are talking about these rates, it has to be over the year. Okay, over the entire year, what is the situation? This is a temporary phenomena of coronavirus. Okay, and here
Okay,
also
ma'am.
our death rate is not that high. Okay, so now
Yes,
see, look at this table that I have given you. In developed countries, England, US, Japan, look at the growth rate. Growth rate, that is their birth rate. It is only 0.4 in England, 1.2 in US, and 0.3 in Japan. But look at India. The growth rate is 1.8%. Pakistan is 2.5. Kenya is 2.4. You can see the difference between the growth rates, or we can say the birth rate. We have a very high birth rate still, right? And with the increase in population, what natural resources we are using, we cannot even use it for the entire population, and anyways we are not using it efficiently, right? Can you understand?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, the next is agriculture. Agriculture in underdeveloped countries is the main occupation, right? I told you, in a developed countries, the agriculture has hardly 2 to 3% contribution in national income. But in a underdeveloped country or in a developing country, agriculture is still the main occupation of the people. Like 70 to 85% of the population is involved in agricultural activities. Okay, 50% or more of national income comes from agriculture only. And these nations, they export more of agricultural goods and agricultural products and import more of consumer goods. Okay, so that development, economic development, totally depends on agriculture. Now agriculture, you people must have learned, is very erratic, right? It is all based on natural things rather than on scientific things. Weather, climate, all these things should be proper for agricultural production to be proper. Yes, yes or no? So when a country is basically based on agriculture only, its economy is very fluctuating. Okay, so unlike in developed countries, we had learned that it is 2 to 3% only, 2 to 3% only people are involved in agriculture, right? Their contribution to national income is also that much, but for us it is too high. In India also, it is nearly 50% people who are involved in agriculture. Okay,
Ma'am, but in Canada, most of the people's main occupation is agriculture only.
no, Canada is a developed country. Where did you learn Canada most of the people main occupation is agriculture?
Like not main occupation, ma'am, but their
No,
interest is in agriculture.
no, these
But the other percentage is more
these
than agriculture.
developed countries, they have only 2 to 3% of their national income coming from agriculture. That means imagine the amount of people involved in that. It is only 2 to 3% of national income. Rest all is coming from the secondary and the tertiary sector, the industrial sector. That is why this is considered to be a better economy. That only those many percentage only can feed the entire nation. That is the only portion, and they are at their best. They are using their modern technology. They are using efficiently production. What 1 hectare our country produces, it might be 3 times of what they are producing. Understood? Theirs is 3 times of what we are producing. Yes, Ronak.
And
Yes,
do we have
Ronak.
to rejoin?
You have to
Do we have to
rejoin.
re-
No, 40 minutes class is more than enough. Okay. How much
Okay,
time? Abhi to 5 minutes are left. Okay.
No, ma'am, more time, ma'am. 10 minutes almost.
Yours thing is showing 10 minutes. Mine is showing 5 only. Okay.
Ma'am, even mine is showing 5 minutes.
5 minutes only, na? Huh. Right. So the
Yes, ma'am,
next
it's 5
point
minutes.
is, next point is unequal distribution of income, right? Because levels of population, lower levels of per capita income is there in underdeveloped countries like the capitalist. There is a large difference between the rich and the poor. There are some 20% people only which are the top people who contribute maximum to the national income also, and they have most of the money or wealth with them, right? Rest of the 80% are those who will live below the, who are the middle class and the people who live below the poverty line. Okay, so there is a large gap between the rich and the poor, right? Nearly 20%, which is a very small section of the society, are contributing maximum to the national income. They are the rich people, right? And the small population, that the large population is contributing very small to national income, right? For example, in India, if you see, 20% of population contributes to 46% of national income, but the poorest 20% are only contribution 7% of the national income. Okay, so unequal distribution income, you have understood. All these large industries, the Tatas, the Birlas, they have become the 20% top, and if you see their contribution in the national income, it is nearly 46% in national income. Okay, so most of the wealth is concentrated with them, not with the,
Ma'am?
yes, yes,
Ma'am,
dear.
people in developing countries mostly shift to the developed countries and
Yes,
contribute over there.
gradually. No, not shift to developed countries. The developing nations, we learn about it. The developing nations try to shift towards the developed nations to reach their efficiency level. Okay, that means the contribution to national income should be more. If we take a total population as 100, right? In this scenario, what is happening is the top 20 people, right? The top 20 people are giving 46 rupees to the national income out of 100. I'm telling you, okay? And the rest of the 80 are contributing only 20 rupees or 30 rupees. Is it clear? Right?
Yes.
What is left is coming from the middle section. Okay, so that is a very skewed distribution of income. Most of the income is in the hands of the rich people, which are very few, 20% only, and rest 80%, they have only that much income left. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Then next is I covered all 5. The problem of unemployment. Now understand this unemployment very clearly. Unemployment is of 3 types. First is the word unemployment only, wherein a person has no job at all. Okay, that is first unemployment. What happened? Somebody. Okay, somebody rejoined. Yeah, again. No. First
No,
is
ma'am.
unemployment, that is a person is not having any kind of job. Second type of unemployment is known as underemployment, right? Underemployment means throughout the year, for some time the person is employed and rest of the year he is not employed. Okay,
Ma'am, like
And-
farming, season farming.
yes, like farming. Farming is a
Seasonal
seasonal
employment.
occupation. Yes, it's a seasonal employment. So say for 6 months he is employed in cultivation, but for the next, till the time no cultivation is happening, he is not employed. Okay, that is known as underemployment. And one is disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment is that kind of employment wherein more people are involved in a particular work which is not
Where
required.
less people are needed.
Right?
Less
Yeah,
required.
where less people are needed, more people are recruited for that job.
Ma'am, we learned this last time, ma'am.
Achha,
Yes,
you learned
ma'am, in
this last time?
geography.
Yes,
Very
yes, ma'am,
good.
the entire thing.
Okay. Oh yes, geography also has this. Okay, so you know all these 3. So this problem of unemployment is widespread in underdeveloped economy. Okay, and why this is there? One is rapid growth of population. The rate at which the population is growing, employment generation is not happening that much. Okay, then because there is low development of economy, the resources are not used properly, and employment is there. Capital formation, low rate of capital formation. I've told you, for an economy to grow, for an productive process to keep on happening, we need capital formation. In the second chapter we learned the